Hello, good afternoon. Um, so today, internet hopefully stays on. It's been very finicky this morning, I think, with our strong winds in Melbourne. So today I decided to do the live on the topic that I couldn't remember what it was yesterday. Uh, it was so funny. So I did the live and then I did a few other things, and then I was just chilling out at one point and it just popped in. I knew it would. I knew it would. It was too good of a topic to just disappear, to disappear into the ether. And the moment it popped into my head, I was like, quick, write this down, because these things can be fleeting. They can come in and leave quite quickly, as I got to experience yesterday. And I was like, no, I will not forget this one. I will not. So yes, today's topic is being okay with I don't know, which I thought was so ridiculously ironic, because after obviously forgetting the topic and not knowing what my topic was, I jumped on and did a live anyway. So as I said, I only teach things that I apply to myself. So regardless of not knowing the topic, I went on and persisted. So yay me, yay. All right, so being okay with I don't know. So I'm just going to quickly run through a few little things about being okay with I don't know. So my original experience with this concept actually came in, 2019. I started my first professional training job over 9 years ago, in 2010, and that's when I was working for a software company, and it was my first full training role. I had done training elements in different roles prior to that, but this was sort of the first time that it was my professional title. And I discovered very, very quickly in that role that it was just never possible to know everything. So in every training, at some point, there would be a question where I had to answer, I don't know. And it took a while to get comfortable with that. I had the realization, first of all, that admitting that we don't know something can be challenging, particularly when I was placed in the role of, subject matter expert, all things finance and related to this particular software product. And so to sort of be the resident expert, but not necessarily know everything, because it was just, particularly from the beginning, like it was not possible to know everything right from the get-go. Over 5 years in that role, by the end of it, I didn't say I don't know as often, but it still happened, because things were constantly changing, and the way this product was used was different with every client, depending on their situation. So I had to learn how to get comfortable just saying, look, I don't know the answer to that question. Let me jot down the details of what they were asking, and then I would go off and either research myself or ask the appropriate people to sort of get a response together and get back to them. And it was such a good learning experience to have that, to get comfortable with saying, I don't know. For starters, the ability to say I don't know comfortably, but still with confidence in knowing that, yeah, I don't know, however, I will figure it out, and say that with confidence, and creating trust between myself and the client that I was working with, was huge, because, and I saw it happen quite a few times with trainers that weren't comfortable with saying I don't know, and instead of saying that, they would muzz up if that's even a word, an answer. And it wasn't right. It wasn't right. So it was just obvious. It was, you know, I often talk about authenticity. And so when we pretend that we know something when clearly we don't, it's awkward, it's embarrassing, it's very unprofessional. And so no one walks away a winner in that situation. So when I realized the benefits of being okay with saying I don't know, definitely the comfort levels of that dropped in, because as I said, it wasn't worth pretending that you did know when you didn't. It didn't look good in any respect. So that was really good, and I think learning that, and it was quite empowering actually to realize that, hey, it doesn't matter if I don't know, it's totally okay. And just sort of being able to manage expectations of myself, my clients. It was really good, because ultimately I learned that situation in that professional training role. And the beauty of that is that it applies throughout, not just in that particular situation. So more often than not, in life we're presented with situations where we don't know. I've got a few big ones at the moment, and in actual fact, one's been playing out for quite some time, and that's in regards to our living situation and whether we want to stay living in Melbourne or move out of Melbourne. If we stay in Melbourne, where do we want to live in Melbourne? Like, just all of these things. And for such a long, like, this is a big thing, right? This is your living environment. So it's really important. And for a long time, my answer has just been, I don't know. I really don't know. There was sort of parts of me that were just still too attached to living where we currently are and our situation there. And so what had to happen is that I had to get comfortable with just saying, look, I don't know. I don't have that information yet. And just trust that the information or my situation or my feeling about these particular situations would change over time, and it would all become clear. And for that particular situation, that has started to clear up. I've got some clarity around that, so I don't have to say I don't know. On that one, I've got some I don't knows, some big ones around my business at the moment, and the future direction and where I want to take things, just based on current results and what I've been doing and what's working and not working. And I don't have all the information. I certainly have a I don't know right now, and as uncomfortable as it is not knowing, I just have to sit and trust and know that at some point I will. And be okay with that void, that emptiness, that space where it is, I don't know. There's two other applications for this I don't know. So in a coaching conversation, working with a client, quite often we're asking questions where we deliberately actually expect people to get to a I don't know. And it's actually really beneficial when we get to that I don't know, because what we're doing is we've exhausted all of the conscious, all of the logical bits of information that this person has floating around in their mind. So we keep questioning. And then when we get to an I don't know, it's like, great. The conscious part of the brain, some people refer to it as ego or our identity, is just going, I'm out. I don't know. And that's a really powerful point in the conversation, because from that point forward, we can start to continue questioning. We don't stop there just because we get an I don't know. What happens is the brain has to start looking outside of that conscious information. So start diving into the unconscious parts where we've stored things, but takes a little bit longer to retrieve. There's also an expansiveness that gets created when we start going into the I don't know phase. We refer to it sometimes as the void. Okay, so it's that intersect, that space in between the I know and I don't know. There's this space, and because we're not encouraged to be I don't knowers, we'll talk about that in a second, this void can be quite uncomfortable. Over time, when we start to realize the benefits of sitting in that void, in the uncomfortableness of it, it gets less scary. And we get to the point where it's like, oh, okay, I'm here. All right. And knowing that post that is the resolution, the answer, what it is that we're seeking, the hidden information that's been stored there. So it's actually really, really cool. I've done a bit of reflecting about, well, what is it about being I don't know, being so uncomfortable? And logically, this sort of takes me back to schooling and education, where we're kind of punished if we didn't know the answer. Okay, so it might be that we didn't know the answer to a mathematical equation in the classroom. It's like, well, if I don't know this, I'm going to fail. I'm going to look potentially stupid in front of my peers. I might get into trouble even. Okay, so there's a lot of conditioning that happens in the classroom that actually prevents us actually even being comfortable with saying, hey, I don't know. Can you work with me to help, figure this out? And actually being comfortable with that without a whole lot of story being made up about I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm not good at maths. All of these things that we create in that situation. So it's very easy to start to see why, even like at a society and cultural level, that we're just really not great with the I don't knows. And in fact, we're quite quick to criticize. And it's really not deemed as acceptable for someone in the public eye, people that we look up to, admire, or people in appointed positions of leadership, to be able to turn around and go, I don't know. There's a level of vulnerability that actually is being exposed at that point in time. And to be honest, I actually get quite a kick out of, or I actually, if someone can say I don't know, and be vulnerable in that, then that helps build rapport with me. Okay, I can respect someone who's honest, as opposed to, as I said earlier, making stuff up. One other thing to mention. So for some of us, not me in particular, thanks, Wen. For some of us, some people that I work with, the I don't know is actually fully conditioned in, and that's their comfort zone. Okay, so this might speak to you. You might know someone like this, or this might be yourself, where it's almost like you're in a frozen state of not being able to commit or make a decision on something. It's, I don't know what the right thing is to do here. And it's like we're in a frozen, incapacitated to commit to something. Okay, so this might be, as I said, there's a fair bit of conditioning around the vulnerability about I don't know. But for some of us, perhaps we got into massive trouble, or we had a significant situation happen because we committed to an answer or made a decision and it blew up in our face. And perhaps from that situation, we learned that it's actually not safe to trust myself and not safe to commit to something that I think I know. So if that is your situation, and so for someone that is in that situation, generally what happens is that they look to so many external resources outside of themselves to affirm that they're making the right decision. So this might be something as simple as, I don't know what to wear. I need to get other people to help me decide on what to wear. Okay, because I can't, I don't know, is more saying, I don't trust myself. I'm unlikely to make a good decision here, so I need some assistance. Okay, now that's fine. That might work for you. There's no judgment there. Okay, if, however, you are one of these frozen in the I don't know side of things and it doesn't work for you, if it causes frustration, angst, anxiety, anything that doesn't feel overly pleasant, or that, you know, people get frustrated because you're not just able to commit and make a full decision, then it is possible to look at the underlying beliefs there and work through the conditioning that's occurred there that's actually made I don't know as your comfort zone. And so therefore to step into I do know, that's actually your edge. That's stepping out into your uncomfortable zone. I've worked with a few people in and around that. So, all right. So we finally got the being okay with I don't know content done today. I'm very, very glad that that didn't just disappear into the ether. It was just too good of a topic to not speak of. Yeah. So thank you for listening, and have a great afternoon, everyone.